Spencer is here for InsideTrackNews.com and DelawareSpeedway.com. I'm here with Jonathan Urlin, who's really enjoyed a great year here at Delaware Speedway. I mean, the atmosphere here, the car count, the fan count, everything's been fantastic, and it all leads to the Great Canadian Race, my man. New formats coming up. 2 days of incredible racing. I mean, I know you're excited for it. We talked about it off camera. It's your first Great Canadian sort of in a managerial position. You got to be losing some sleep with some excitement coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. As you saw even from tonight, the fan count is amazing here at Delaware Speedway. I think we have a lot of momentum coming up into the Great Canadian Race Weekend. As you mentioned, doubleheader race weekend. Many divisions running. We have a very tight itinerary all the way through the weekend. The campground is already starting to book up, and we put it on this afternoon, which is pretty exciting. We have a special events permit and a couple bands booked, so not just quality racing that's going to happen here on the 5/8 mile or half-mile track that we have here at Delaware, but also a really good party and a really good atmosphere about to take place later in the fall. We're really excited about this weekend to wrap up the 2014 season.
Now, the Great Canadian, it's a crown jewel. It's such a huge event for the Pro Late Model division. You grew up here, so you've been here as a spectator, as the son of a racer, as a racer yourself, and as a fan. So what does the Great Canadian mean to people at Delaware Speedway? Maybe for our viewers that aren't from this track, that didn't grow up here, what does the Great Canadian mean to a guy that grew up at Delaware Speedway?
Great point. Spence, you mentioned about the heritage here. Canada being the longest operational circle track in all of Canada, there's something to be said strictly just in the venue on its own. As we usher in a new era here with, our four-cylinder division, for example, we're up over 50 cars starting just a few years ago. This is what we're seeing is a recycle of history, as you can say, or a repeat of history. For example, these four-cylinder bone stocks 50 on track is what we saw back in the 80s and 90s in the old Enduro division. So I think it's a really good time in the history of the Speedway, again, taking into consideration that this is the longest running circle track, with the highlight race, of course, being the Great Canadian Race Weekend, taking on a new format to include many other divisions, not just our weekly divisions, coming in for a two-day event. So it's more or less a representation of ushering in a new era or repeat of history that has been so deep and so rich here at Delaware Speedway, Canada's oldest circle track.
So we know the Pro Late Models are going to be a huge event because they always are. They're going to be incredible. Let's sort of just put them aside for a second. With all the other divisions on the card, in your opinion, which class stands the best chance at stealing the show? Because there's always a division that wants to come out and really sort of take their program to the forefront. Who's it going to be this year if it's not the Pro Late Models?
You don't have kids, do you?
I do not.
What would happen if you asked your parents who their favorite kid was?
It would be my sister.
So if we have to pick favorites, I think for me, I really have my eye on the Superstock division right now. The car counts are huge. The drivers are driving with tons of respect for one another. We're seeing lots of side-by-side racing, lots of racing in the outside lane, lots of give and take. We're encouraging, and the drivers are even encouraging each other, to give each other a lift. The idea has been preservation of equipment, and nobody has demonstrated that more here at the Speedway than our Superstock division. And again, speaking of this, recycling history and this sort of thing, these Superstocks are what a late model car was 10 or 15 years ago. So as the divisions kind of move up, we see the gaining in the popularity of the Superstock division, and you combine that with the respect and the attitudes of these drivers that we have out there, it's a great time out here on a Friday night, so there's no reason why we can't bring in a big daytime race under the sunshine and have that same quality racing product. Watching these guys go head to head, 10 or 15 rows deep side by side, I think it's any race fan quite excited.
It's September 19th and 20th, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, exactly.
And tickets are on sale right now? They can go on the website?
Tickets on sale, available online. Again, you can book a campsite for, I assume, and we're expecting a lot of the competitors and the race fans to fill up that campground. We saw a big turnout for the ISMA race there a few weeks ago. As you know, the campground was packed, so we felt that it was important to kind of dice up that campground into sections so all the seats are reserved. We had one of the biggest nights in terms of fan count that we had here for championship night, and I think the race fans are really excited to get back here for a double header weekend and enjoy some cool air and sunshine and some great racing.
Thanks for the time, man. I know you had a crazy night running around here making sure that everything stays level here at Delaware, so you're doing an awesome job. For anyone watching this video, if you haven't been to Delaware this year, you got to come. Just the whole feeling of this track is different. The atmosphere, it's phenomenal. You got to come check it out.
There's something happening here.
There's something happening here. There's no better time to do it. The Great Canadian Race. Get your tickets right now. www.delawarespeedway.com.